WXII 12 News at 10 on the Triad CW starts now.
A woman from Wilkes County is likely being held against her will. I'm Steve King, live in Wilkesboro with what we know about the kidnapping of Lauren Hall.
Plus, what the redacted Mueller report released today reveals about North Carolina Senator Richard Burr.
And once again, the same system bringing this damage to the South is now heading our way when this storm will hit us and what it will look like when it reaches the Triad. Those storms pretty intense, and that is exactly where we begin tonight. You're looking at damage right behind me, left behind in Texas.
Yeah, trees down, messing up people's homes. We want to now go to Chief Meteorologist Lainey Pope. Lainey, when will this bad weather arrive here, and what's your biggest concern for the Triad?
Well, it will stay quiet overnight, maybe a few showers around when you wake up tomorrow morning. Most of this happens, though, lunchtime into the afternoon tomorrow, and you can see we have just a few clouds out there right now. The really severe weather has been down to the south from Texas into Louisiana, Mississippi, and now moving into Alabama, where we've had tornado watches out. Also, severe thunderstorm watch boxes out, and mainly for wind damage with this, but also there have been a few tornado touchdowns in parts of Mississippi. So that severe threat for tonight from Birmingham to Atlanta down to Montgomery. By tomorrow, though, it shifts to the east. The main focus is central and eastern North and South Carolina. Of course, central North Carolina right here in the heart of the Triad under an enhanced risk for severe weather. Also anticipating some severe weather in the mountains and foothills, but perhaps to a lesser extent. Scattered wind damage is what we anticipate. There's a possibility for tornadoes as well. Here's the timing: late morning into early evening. Rainfall an inch, maybe close to 2 inches in spots, could cause some flooding. Damaging winds, 60, 70 mile per hour winds are possible with this line of storms as it pushes through, and we can't rule out tornadoes in the forecast across North Carolina either.
Lainey, thank you. This is going to be our second round of severe weather this week. The National Weather Service confirms straight line wind ripped through High Point on Sunday, tearing down trees and ripping holes in people's roofs.
Many bracing now for round two. Nearly a dozen tornado warnings popped up across our viewing area in a 12-hour span on Sunday. In fact, an EF0 tornado touched down in Halifax County, another touchdown just days before in Harnett County.
Stay ahead of the severe weather by downloading our free WXII 12 News mobile app. It can send you push alerts when storms strike your neighborhood. A nearly 2-year investigation broken down into more than 400 pages. Today, Attorney General Bill Barr released a redacted version of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian influence in the 2016 presidential election.
And Blaine Alexander is here to break down what's in that report and has reaction from lawmakers tonight, all from Capitol Hill.
After the release, tonight, the reaction. A new partisan battle brewing with Special Counsel Robert Mueller's redacted Russia report now public. From President Trump, a renewed victory lap.
I'm having a good day, too. It was called No Collusion, No Obstruction.
In fact, on obstruction of justice, Mueller specifically wrote that his report does not exonerate the president, instead suggesting Congress should decide.
It's certainly not game over in the sense that there's a lot more that we need to know that's redacted in this report.
Democrats slamming Attorney General William Barr, saying his rollout of the report was designed to help President Trump. Now they're demanding Mueller testify on Capitol Hill and strengthening their calls to see all 448 pages unredacted. In the report, Mueller outlines at least 10 instances of possible obstruction, including a time the president asked then White House lawyer Don McGahn to order Mueller's firing. McGahn refused. And while Republicans say it's time to move on,
I think our friends on the other side will be to try to destroy all of their reputations because they don't like what they're hearing. You shouldn't buy that.
The report's release only providing more fuel for Democrats, ready to issue subpoenas for the entire thing. And starting next week, a small group of lawmakers from both parties will get a chance to see a different report with fewer redactions. In fact, the only thing that will be hidden will be grand jury information. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
Lane, thank you. North Carolina Senator Richard Burr is mentioned in Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report.
He's the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, which led the original probe into Russia's involvement in the 2016 presidential election. Now, the report says that in March of 2017, Senator Richard Burr appeared to brief the White House counsel's office about a handful of targets of that investigation.
The report states then FBI Director James Comey briefed the Intelligence Committee along with congressional leaders from both parties on the investigation days before revealing its existence publicly. A spokeswoman for the North Carolina Republicans says Burr did not recall the specific conversation with White House counsel from 2017.
You can read it for yourself. You can read much more on the Special Counsel Robert Mueller's redacted report and how our local lawmakers are reacting to it tonight on WXII12.com. Happening now, the search continues for a missing woman reportedly dragged from her yard in Wilkes County. 20-year-old Lauren Hall is believed to be with 37-year-old Rosalino Durante Cruz somewhere in Winston-Salem or Yadkin County.
Our Steve King joins us live outside the Wilkes County Sheriff's Office. And Steve, you talked with a neighbor who says he saw when this moment happened. Tell us more.
Yeah, that neighbor says that he saw Rosalino Durante Cruz hit Lauren Hall several times before forcing her into his car and driving away. Now, investigators say this all happened near Cruz's home on Gray Mill Street in North Wilkesboro around 2:30 this morning. Hall's mother says the two live together and the sheriff's office confirms that they're dating. A 15-year-old neighbor says he heard screaming this morning, went outside to see what was going on, and that's when he saw 37-year-old Cruz hitting Hall. He says he tried to stop Durante Cruz, but Cruz pushed him to the ground, forced Hall into his car, and then drove away.
The only thing that just kept flooding through my mind is, dude, I got to get off of her. You know, I don't know what he's going to do next. I replay it quite a bit, and I feel like there's more I could have did if I had just paid more attention to it. I feel bad that he's actually got her now.
Police believe Hall and Cruz are in the Winston-Salem or Yadkinville areas. Investigators say they are likely in a 2016 Chevy Camaro LT with North Carolina license plate TPD 8339. Now, Cruz is charged with kidnapping and assault. If you know where he is or where Hall is, you are urged to call law enforcement. Reporting live in Wilkesboro, Steve King, WXII 12 News.
All right, Steve, thank you. New tonight, the Guilford County Commissioners are postponing a vote on spending more than $7 million on a CTE career training program. Instead, the commissioners will consult with the Guilford County school leaders about getting $2 million to repair the Gateway Education Center. This is according to our partners at the High Point Enterprise. This week, School Superintendent Sharon Contreras backed off a recommendation to shut that school down. It's for children who have special needs and disabilities. They want to relocate those students to other schools, but parents say they want to stay in their current building. It just needs a lot of maintenance, including repairs to leaky roofs, plumbing upgrades, and pest control.
For the second time this year, High Point police are charging a 19-year-old for a shooting. This time, Aaron Seymour is accused of shooting Michael Leak twice in the chest this morning at a home located on Earl Place. Leak was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. No word yet on how he's doing tonight. Meantime, investigators believe that this suspect started an argument and is facing attempted murder charges.
2 months after an investigation started, this woman is facing charges for sexually assaulting a 14-year-old. Detectives are charging 38-year-old Ashley Grant with statutory rape, along with child abuse and first-degree kidnapping. Deputies tell us a 14-year-old boy gave them details about his assault during an interview at the Dragonfly House Children's Advocacy Center in Mocksville back in February. Grant is at the Davidson County Jail tonight. She's due in court on June 3rd. The driver behind this crash on Highway 52 in Davidson County is facing several charges right now. Investigators say Antoine Mickle was going the wrong way in the northbound lanes. A deputy chased the car in the right direction. Milton crashed into another car and was trapped inside the wreckage. The driver he hit had to go to the hospital. Tonight, Mickle is in jail on several charges, including outstanding warrants out of Guilford and Forsyth counties. Investigators say Mickle was also in possession of $2,000 in property they believe was stolen.
Today in Forsyth County Court, developments in 2 deadly crimes that we've been following. Well, first, the man convicted of beating a Winston-Salem toddler to death 4 years ago will now spend the rest of his life in prison. A jury unanimously recommended that sentence for Charles Stacks. Stacks was found guilty last week of killing 2-year-old Jackson Swain. After sentencing, he told the judge he didn't do it, saying, quote, "You didn't see all the evidence," end quote. Well, the judge then said he didn't believe Stacks and that he refused to accept responsibility. His wife, Megan, also faces 2 felony charges tied to the toddler's murder, obstruction of justice, and accessory after the fact to child abuse inflicting serious bodily injury.
And there was chaos in the courtroom during Malik Smith's bond hearing today. He's accused of holding a crowd at bay with a gun while another man shot and killed a Winston-Salem State University student by the name of Najee Baker last year. Baker's mother got upset during today's proceedings and at one point yelled out, "He expletive killed my son." It led to a fight with Smith's family. The judge ended up ordering everyone out of the court and finished the hearing alone. Smith is out on bond tonight. The deadly shooting happened in January of last year during a party on the campus of Wake Forest University. A hearing for Jakir Austin, who's accused of actually shooting Baker, is set for June.
Governor Roy Cooper vetoed a Republican-backed abortion bill, and if Republicans want to override the veto, they will need help from some Democrats. The bill would have required doctors to provide the same care to an infant that survives an abortion that they would to any newborn. That goes for doctors and nurses. But the governor says this bill is, quote, an unnecessary interference between doctors and their patients.
Still ahead tonight at 10, a teenager catches a brain-eating amoeba while visiting North Carolina and dies. While her death is making headlines again nearly 3 years later.
And your go-to lunch food could be under recall tonight. The meats and cheeses you'll need to throw out. Those stories and how long storm chances will last this weekend when we come on right back here on the Triad CW.